Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John's report. It's for the 14th. Well, there you have it. That brief fade out. I expected that we would have moved towards the positive when we were talking about this yesterday. And sure enough, not to mention it was a big one. You know, when you get into this dire, catastrophic state at a certain point, the only side to move is up because Iran really doesn't have the ability to do anything dramatic other than just continue to do what it's already been doing, which is stopping oil flow. So that was a known dynamic. Everything else is if something better than going back to full conflict is a net gain. So that's the market view. The secondary market view is we don't accept inflation and devaluation of the dollar-based currency when it comes to the equity values. So, from that standpoint, inflation is going to be skyrocketing, and the market is anticipating what the value of that inflation is. So, where we've already seen this step up from 5,000 to near the 7,000 was debasement value increase. So now we have another round of that value debasement. Does that put S&P 8,000 in that other range? Absolutely not. Puts it well within it. If you continue somewhat of a growth dynamic, which the U.S. was in pretty good shape before the Iran conflict started. Things had turned around and was moving in the right direction. So it's quite a setback from that, but they'd already been delayed over a year from where they thought projections would be, and things had moved much slower. Most of it, the court cases and like all the other impediments we talked about. So none of this was a surprise. It just was a lot bigger delay than probably otherwise would have taken place had a lot of these impediments, the lawsuits, everything else, not delayed it further. So this added another monkey wrench into it. But we don't know the intelligence aspect of the motivation behind what the timing was. The fact that Venezuela took place first, and you've got that extra oil, all the tankers now coming into the Gulf state. From an economic standpoint, that's a huge boon at these price tags. Also, revenue for the U.S. from taxes on all that oil as well. So there's that interesting aspect of the export. From an NQ standpoint, still solid readings here. I mean, you're rising DOC red from that, starting to have a little bit. We'll see how if it fades off at all, but or if it continues that climb. But yeah, as long as you get the red DOC, like we talked about, moving up at above -7 here, you're in good shape for a long, nice move. Still behind relative to the S&P if we look at it from just shy of the 61% Morganacci on the S&P to the S&P being over it. So a slight difference there, but the reading's relatively the same. From an oil moving now below 100, it's still way overvalued because the risk premium is still there. You still don't have flow of traffic. And now Iran, though, you see this gets into an interesting economic situation. Can they afford to lose the couple $100 million a day? Because at the end of the day, when you have a regime that is bifurcated the way theirs is, you really need a lot of money to grease the wheels. Otherwise, uh, their side doesn't look so wonderful. I mean, it's a classic story with every quasi dictatorship. But even in democracy here, look at without money flowing, people would get freaked out really quick. And that's why, oil prices are such a big deal because, hey, it's money out of everyone else's pocket. In this case, if you're not getting paid by the regime, yeah, it's a problem. So, from that aspect, we can see from the reading standpoint, oil is in a weak situation at this particular stage. We'll see if that NBI reading contains with the NBI white there, but also whether DOC red remains above it, and that will tell us the risk premium that the market is placing on this for now, uh, pretty benign. And this is a question that the Iranians have now come back for, saying that maybe they want to talk some more. Yeah, it's positive development from a market standpoint. They're going to see obviously if it does anything. The interesting thing about it is, and this becomes really bizarre situation. They're hating on the dollar, everything Trump, and moving towards the euro. But the euro, they have to buy oil in dollars, and then secondarily, their economies are in a world of hurt, given the fact the U.S. is going to see this huge boom from oil sales and the directed energy shift. Does that make any sense? Not a whole lot. But then again, currency trading from that standpoint doesn't. Without the U.S. liquidity, you wouldn't be able to hold up the eurozone anyway. But that Hungary shifted, and now they're going to support the Ukraine war. They feel like Europe is heading towards the war footing. So in that case, that means a lot of spending. So they see that as a net positive for the EU zone. It's going to resurge under its own defense spending. And that was the narrative before, which caused it to go up to the 120 marker. And that's why they're moving back towards it, because their expectation is now that Hungary is no longer an impediment. Ukraine's going to get their $100 billion. And, war with Russia is just a couple of years away. That's why Germany is already, pushing towards limiting, males leaving the country, blah, 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 without permission. Strange stuff, but yeah, that's their viewpoint. Not our fault. We just have to look at it and say, okay, it's what it is. Now gold is poised for its next move. It's just a matter of time before it happens, and that will take it higher. Bitcoin's already started that, and of course, this becomes a question of: are you still, trading for safe passage situations? The interdiction with the blockade, though, makes that a very interesting one. But technically, from the standpoint, Bitcoin moving in the right direction, DOC reading and shake out, all of those things have improved from being deeply ugly back over here. So this consolidation pattern has really become the floor for where things are at. And so it's building on that one. From our 50K view, this is pretty clean. Again, go back to the DOC, that DOC red moving over the -7 there, but you already had your green over cyan with the orange dip. Orange stayed underneath until it overtook. That corresponded mimic with the magenta over yellow. You had the short cover rally with the MBI white slightly leading it, and then once it overtook, boom, all green, and take off. It's pretty straightforward from that view. From the 5K, so we had the massive dip down, and basically we just saw a build back. This is why I was expecting from that dip when we saw we were in the consolidation. You can see that we were headed towards the move back up to it, because what was the new negative that we didn't already know? There wasn't one. And it played out exactly like that. And you can see we just continued strong throughout. I mean, it signed under red, always a buy, and from that point on, it just stayed that way the whole day. Wasn't until just a little bit ago that we ended up with a brief break of that, but it's literally just a reset. So does exactly what you expected, then it moved back, signed under red again. We're now just in a brand new DOC spread as we speak, taking place. And you can see the market responding, but literally you're at the 76%. So not a whole lot of anything. From the new program standpoint, see again, brief move down, back up, and then the same one right here. It's just interesting to put all of that together and point it out. None of this is unusual and fairly clean from a reading standpoint. So despite everyone's freak out at the volatility range and everything, none of that was an issue, and it's something that we've always pointed out for years and years and years. Volatility is your friend because you know the direction of things. It's all everybody else who just doesn't have a clue as to why the thing is doing what it's doing. They get messed up. But in this particular case, we didn't have any issues with it. So all good. Anything relevant, I'll put on the team chat. Get ready. Tax day is tomorrow. Trade well.